It is the show before the show. Lots of stuff going on. Great guest at 8:05.
And hi, I'm not Big Faust.
You are not Big Faust. It is the show before. Hence the music. You know it's not Big Faust, too. Because, we can't dance.
Actually, this must be something different.
This is good.
It's Minimal House. It's the same thing that we
I
listen
like
to. This must be a new song that they've added to the channel. Never heard this one before.
Yeah, this is a good one.
Good morning, Ben.
And Trisha and Mindy. It's my romper room call. The show before the show.
I forgot about this.
No, what?
You don't have chat.
Hit chat.
Oh, you got to hit the
You gotta
chat
hit the chat
icon at the bottom.
On
the right.
No, it's just see the bars
right.
at the bottom. Got it now?
Scared.
There you go.
Trump can't see. Hold on. Here we go.
Trump can't see.
There, now I had to adjust David's camera. I had Trump's eyes covered.
There you go. Everybody, please share the show. Ooh, that sounded good. Was that a knock at the door or was that the music?
Okay, there we go.
A little reverb.
There you go.
I had to mute myself on my camera. I figure I better put this on now because I only have 15% on the device that my camera is. So this might not be long.
Pro Joe, you got your camera right away. I'm going to sound like Joe Biden.
Wait a minute.
Good job, Joe.
Wait a minute. We've got somebody in the background over here.
My kid?
Yeah.
Oh, there's my kid. That's all right.
I don't think she's paying attention.
Uh-huh.
She's listening to
Of course she is. So in Pro Joe's picture, we've got a family affair here, and my 15-year-old is over here. This is literally, what did I call this earlier before it? This is the Morning Joe. Morning Joe. I'm Mika. And you're the asshat Joe. Oh, Mika's an asshat too. And then and you got the Joe. There you go. So welcome to Cancel This. It is the Morning Show with Mika and Joe, whatever his last name is. Scarborough. Here we are. This is MSNBC. Yeah, go back to sleep. You're not going to be awake if it's that.
Literally, go back to sleep.
That's right.
What's going on?
That is so true. Looks like
TV.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you, Trisha. And she's commenting. So she's double-fisted. Trisha's double-fisted. She's got her phone commenting, and then she's got her TV all set up. Absolutely. Or her puppies. Or
like
her
you
puppies.
if you were at home.
That's right. That's right. Like me. If I was home with all my puppies and double-fisted.
You'd be in the chat and have it up on the TV.
That's right. And I do. I'm rarely never here, but when I'm not, and I'm still doing this at home, that is what I'm doing. Got it on the big screen. That's awesome. There is so much stuff. And we're going to be coming right out. We'll have to start shortly thereafter, 8. We can't be late today because we have a guest at 8:05. And that guest is in Milwaukee. Has been at the RNC.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be great. Good morning, Christopher and Kevin and Ben. You know what? Seeing Ben's name, I know what you wish you were doing right now. French dip 20s. Mm-hmm.
Give me them wings.
Yeah. Ojo G having the wings. Give me some wings. With some New York style pizza. With some wings. Give me some blue cheese chips.
I think this music's getting to you.
It is. It is. This is great. This music is getting to me. For sure. Maybe so. We might just have to. I think Wendy's tonight sounds like a plan. I mean, they're both locations are great. Defiance or Chesterfield. Yeah, you've not been to the second location. They're both equally as great. We tend to go to the Chesterfield one more. Obviously, you go to that one.
And Donna's asked, where's Vic?
Where's Vic?
Tied up in a closet somewhere?
He's tied up in a closet. He is, yeah. Victor's house is tied up in a closet.
Does it mic seem low, or do I have it too far away? It's because you had it too far away. I tried to turn you up, and I can only go so far.
Okay.
Oh, I can bring it in. It's fine. Okay.
All right. Okay, is the mic fine now for me, or am I still too low?
You should be fine. I'm showing, at least on the board, it looks like you're right where you need to be.
And Greg says sound is slightly goofy, like tin can. You sound like a tin can.
That's because I have my mic on and I have the speaker on to your daughter's ear.
Got it. Okay.
If she's paying attention.
Yeah, if she's not paying attention.
Then she's watching the Swift. She don't care.
That's right. And she might care a little, but she can't act like she cares. She's 15 and both of her parents in the studio. We can't care about that.
I woke her up 2 hours early on a vacation day.
That's right. You sure did. Because we got places to go and people to meet after this. So that's right. So please share the show. Donna says, hi, Lizzie, Pro Joe, and David Sparks. That is David Sparks. And David Sparks, it's been over a year probably since you've been on.
In a bit.
Yeah, you were on in July and then in August.
In a different set.
On a different set. That's right. The stand-up set.
Sounds
okay,
very
so Trisha is saying we are fading in and out. We sound tinny and very echoey. We probably...
I think that's when I turn my mic on. So I'm just going to keep my mic off and see if people say that it works itself out.
Hi, Renee. Okay, so Pro Joe just turned his mic off. How do we sound now? Does that sound better? Are we better now that Joe's off? Sometimes, for whatever reason, Joe's microphone is wonky. It's wonky.
Because I have a speaker on it here.
Okay, that's probably why. Yeah. There you go. Okay, it sounds good now. So it probably was those speakers.
Hi, Donna.
Yep. It was probably those speakers. So, we're going to start here in just a minute. We have so much to talk about today. We have a lot of videos. If you didn't watch the RNC, I thought the first night was great. Then I thought the second night was even better. I don't know. The third night might have beat that. I don't know. They're just so good. Political junkies, political geeks in this room right now. We just love it. Pam says, good morning, everyone. Yeah, your voice sounds a bit garbled, but other people are saying we sound better. We sound good now.
That's probably better than what it was earlier.
Probably. Yeah. That's right. That's so true. We have a guest at 8:05 who is in Milwaukee. So that is going to be great. It is. Tanya says, no, it is echoing. So I don't know if it's still echoing. I hope it's not echoing. At 8:05, we have Senator Bill Eigel that is running for governor, and he is in Milwaukee and has been milling around the RNC. So that's great.
Thank you. It is a good seat.
Yes, every night has been amazing. And of course, we're going to be in a little bit talking about Joe Biden has COVID.
Yeah.
COVID.
Long COVID or short COVID?
I think he's going to have a dirt nap COVID. That's what I'm thinking. Could be wrong.
I think a lot of people are thinking that.
I hope I'm wrong. I don't wish him gone. You know who does, though?
Yeah.
Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer. Gone. They want him gone. Gone.
Maybe they'll send the guy over to his house in underwear with a hammer.
That's right. All right. Well, we have a guest at 8:05. So, Pro Joe, we're already at 8:01. Why don't you go ahead and get us going? are listening to cancelthisshow.com. As you can see, Vic Faust is not here today. You know, the joke on the show before the show was he's tied up somewhere. Literally, he's tied up somewhere. And we will miss him today. We did something a little bit different today. Our co-host is David Sparks. I am Lizzie Sparks. And so we have the Sparks team here with Pro Joe today. And David Sparks has been on this show before, but if anybody is new to our show, David Sparks has probably not been on this show for almost a year now. He was on a couple times last July. He was on a couple times last August. So we thought this would be an appropriate time to bring him back. So there you go. So David Sparks, good morning.
Good morning.
You know, I said on the show before the show that instead of Cancel This, we could call this the Morning Joe Show, and we could act like, you know, Mika. I'm Mika, and you're Joe who? Joe Scarborough.
Something or
yeah,
other.
Scarborough or whatever. But then we would have to talk
MSNBC.
like this. Yeah, we'd have to talk like this, and we'd have to be like, I hate Donald Trump. Donald Trump is a meanie bag. And so let's just talk about how terrible he is. And oh my gosh, and that bandage is so big on his ear. I think he's faking. Don't you think he's faking? Pro Joe Scarborough, whatever your name is?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. I think I need to do my hair a little bit different for Mika. But, you know, we were teasing that we could do that, but I don't think we could do that for long. I think that would not be fun for me to be a liberal. But
this reminds me of the Saturday Night Live sketch with the NPR.
Oh, yeah, with the NPR where, okay, then I can say my favorite word. That was when, Alec Baldwin was talking about the sweaty balls. I got the word balls in right away.
There you go.
Thank you for setting me up for that. But anyway, so we're not going to talk really about being a liberal today. We have so much stuff to talk about today. Any of you guys that watched the third day of the RNC, you were probably just as excited as I was. And there were so many good things. There were so many highlights. You know, Donald Trump's oldest granddaughter spoke yesterday, and she hit it out of the ballpark.
Yeah, she was fantastic.
Wasn't she great? I thought and you know what, as a grandma now, if my granddaughter, Liberty, talked about me in the way that she did her grandpa, how heartwarming. And what? Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm getting motioned. Okay. So anyway, it was so heartwarming last night. And then his son spoke. If you watched Fox, you know, Eric Trump talked, but all different platforms had it last night. So I flipped from conservative to liberals, and the liberals, they're just so upset about the RNC because you do see unity. And I can't wait to look on the chat line to see what people think about JD Vance, because prior to him talking, there was a lot of people that weren't really sure about him. So I want to see, so please be active today on the chat line. If I'm not answering you as much today, I am actually Vic today, so I can't look down quite as much. So, but please keep the chat line going. That would be awesome. And let us know what you thought about speakers. Who was your favorite speaker? I know a lot of people really liked, you know, well, not liked, I shouldn't say liked. They were very gratified by hearing, you know, the people that died, you know, under Joe Biden's watch, all the military, the Freedom 13, and people came up and talked. And, you know, we are from the St. Louis metropolitan area. So when they mentioned Jared Smith and the whole crowd said his name, I'm thrilled, because we need to keep saying their names, because Joe Biden doesn't say anything.
Keeps them alive.
It keeps them alive, and they are very much alive. So, you know, we're going to be talking about the RNC. I want you guys' thoughts about COVID. Does Joey really have COVID? And so we're going to get into that. But we're going to start the show off right away. And I'm very excited about this because Bill Eigel, he is a senator here in Missouri, but he is also running for governor, and he is in Milwaukee. So he's going to video in, and I cannot wait to hear his opinions. Hey, Bill Eigel, how are you? You can see we don't have Vic Faust today, so you are stuck with the Sparks team this morning.
I'm happy to be here. And I apologize. I actually had to come back to St. Louis. So I was in Milwaukee on Monday, but I'm back in St. Louis because we got a lot of work to do in this campaign, as you know.
Yeah.
Don't want to disappoint you that I'm not in Milwaukee, but I was.
Okay. So David, can you hear Bill? I can't hear Bill.
Yeah, I can hear him. I can hear him great.
You can hear him. For some reason, Bill, I can't hear you. I can't hear you. But David, you can hear him?
I can hear him great.
Okay,
yeah.
Great. So you might have to lead a lot of the questions because I can't hear him. But one of the questions I wanted to ask you, Bill, hopefully you can hear me, is
Yeah, he can hear you.
okay, he can hear me. I can't hear you. But what is going on at the RNC? From your opinion, do you see unification, or is there three different groups that are coming together now with unity? Are they still divided there?
No, I see a tremendous amount of unity amongst the Republicans up at the convention. There's a lot of energy right now, a lot of excitement about really the idea that we're going to take our country back in November. And, I don't know that there's anybody that has been willing to confront the swamp, the status quo on the national level like Donald J. Trump has. And folks want that disruptor, and they want the ideas of the Republican platform and the Republican brand. This idea of more efficient government, smaller government, a lower tax burden. And to get those things, we have to have a fighter. We have to have a disruptor up in the swamp in Washington, D.C., the nation's worst swamp. And folks are excited about that. So when I was up at the convention on Monday night, there was a tremendous amount of excitement. I went out onto the convention floor. We saw some great speakers while I was there. And I think that energy is going to translate long after the convention is over. Obviously, we're looking forward to hearing Donald Trump speak tonight, but that's going to carry us all the way from now till we get to a November election that's really going to change the trajectory of the country.
Definitely. The now first time meeting JD Vance and hearing him last night, what did you think about him?
Well, he did a great job. I think that expectations obviously were very high for the U.S. Senator from Ohio, but I think he did a great job. What the Trump Vance ticket means is that we're done with rhino Republicans. We're going to start passing policies that are going to move this country forward. We're going to start passing policies and be serious about the campaign promises that we make. I've been very critical of a lot of the rhino Republicans here in the state of Missouri. Jefferson City seems to be overrun by all these rhinos down in Jefferson City, and it's time to really have disruptors in office that are going to confront the swamp. Let's go Missouri, and let's make America great again.
Yeah, let's go Missouri. So talking about policy and things like that, how are you going on your message and how are you getting it out?
Fantastic. Our message, probably the top two themes that we're talking about right now. Number one, we're going to get rid of personal property tax. You're actually going to own your car. I'm the only candidate that's proposing getting rid of personal property tax and following the lead of 29 other states that have already gotten rid of personal property tax instead of being charged rent for the crime of owning your car every December 1st. The other message has to do with the illegal immigration crisis. Of course, Joe Biden opened up our border. Or actually, I don't know if it was Joe Biden. I don't know who it was exactly up there because Joe Biden's not really doing anything up there. But the border was opened when Joe Biden took office. We've had an invasion of illegals. I am the candidate that has promised on day one, we are going to declare an invasion under Article 4 of the Constitution. We will detain and deport every single one of the illegal immigrants that are in this state. Believe it or not, I can't believe I have to say this. Mike Kehoe, one of my opponents, came out over the weekend and called my plan to deport illegals in Missouri foolish. He called it impractical. He is not going to do anything about the illegal immigration crisis. He is going to continue to maintain the status quo. But this is kind of what we expect from Mike Kehoe because he is the establishment. He is the rhino in this race. So we have a lot of folks that are responding to the ideas we're talking about. We're going to protect the farmland in this state from being bought out by foreign countries. And I know I'm getting attacked a lot by the Kehoe campaign. He's trying to cancel me. So I love being on this show because there have been, long throughout my time in politics, we've had a lot of folks trying to cancel me, but we're not going to be afraid. We're gonna show up. We're going to do very well, I think, on August 6th.
Good. Two keys to take away from that. You had mentioned the word invasion. So how you declared an invasion and how does that work?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, under Article 4 of the Missouri Constitution, where the governor can declare an invasion and repel such invasion. So if you do that, it activates and gives authority to the Highway Patrol, the National Guard, every sheriff in every county of the state to detain illegals. In fact, with 70,000 illegals, our sheriffs know where these individuals are at. They just lack the authority to do anything. And what's frustrating to me is, we shouldn't have to wait for January for action to be taken by our statewide leaders. Mike Parson could address this right now and declare that invasion. He's just not doing it. So this absence of leadership, I think, is very frustrating.
You know what? I can't wait, David and Bill. I cannot wait to see Bill in the front of a huge truck himself. Not anybody else, him just driving all over the United States, picking up these illegals, taking them over the border. I cannot wait for that. That's in my head. I go to sleep thinking about that, Bill, just thinking about how you're going to get them all out of here. I cannot wait to see that.
I tell you what, we've got a lot of money down in Jefferson City. I've said this repeatedly. If I have to buy a fleet of buses and I drive the bus myself back to the port of entry, then that's what we're going to do to get our communities back. And by the way, I'm watching the chat. I see a couple folks asking about personal property tax. And asking probably the most common question is, what are we going to do? How are we going to fund government if we get rid of personal property tax? So if you guys don't mind, can I address that question?
Yeah,
real
go
quick?
ahead.
So keep in mind, for anybody wondering what we're going to do when the state of Missouri no longer has personal property tax, that none of the issues in this state have anything to do with a lack of money coming from your bank account to government somewhere. We are paying twice per person in this state what other states like Tennessee and Florida and Texas are spending for those same services of fire departments, police departments, and schools. The conversation about personal property tax has nothing to do with whether or not we can and should fund those local services that most every rational person thinks we ought to have. It is absolutely a conversation about whether or not charging people rent for the crime of owning a car every December 1st is the right way to do it. The value of every personal property tax bill for every citizen in the state annually, collectively, is about $1.7 billion. To put that in perspective, we've increased spending in Jefferson City over the past 5 years by $25 billion. So my plan is very simple. We're going to dramatically cut the size and scope of government down in Jefferson City and use those surpluses to keep the local areas whole so they can continue providing those services. But we will be doing it just like the 29 other states without charging people rent on their car in the form of personal property tax.
Yeah, along those lines, one question that has come back to me and some of the people have asked, how do we legislatively get rid of personal property tax? Because isn't it a three-pronged approach that you have to get rid of income tax first?
No, first is going to be personal property tax. Right now, the state sets the assessment rate on personal property tax. So right now it's 33.3%.
Right.
And the state can change that. So the number I've got in mind changing the assessment rate to is 0%. So then, of course, once that's done, we're going to go after income taxes. Texas, Tennessee, Florida, they all have police departments. They all have fire departments. They have very well-funded schools. You know what they don't have? Personal property tax and income taxes. We're going to follow that model. And when we do, growth is going to start coming into the state of Missouri when the tax burden has been lowered to be in line with what most other states are actually spending right now.
So the three states that you're mentioning there, don't they have a much better tourism than we have? And how do we?
They get revenues that are roughly similar to Missouri, but Tennessee is actually very close in terms of demographics to Missouri. Okay. Very, very close. And the big difference between us and those other states is we are spending twice per person in our state capital as what those states are spending per person. So regardless of where we get the money from, we have a spending problem in Jefferson City. And if we could get a fiscal conservative in the governor's mansion that actually means what he says in campaign season, then we're going to have an entirely different Missouri. So Missouri, the government, the state spending has doubled in Jefferson City just over the past 5 years. I mean, I don't remember hearing any Republican promise that in campaign season. No. So we've had Mike Parson, who has increased spending more in 5 years than every Democratic governor combined going back to the founding of the state. That's just not what people signed up for, and it's stagnating the show me state.
So still along those same lines, one question that comes to mind is cutting spending. What programs are we going to cut?
Well, we're going to cut out the earmarks. We had more than $2 billion of earmarks, but doing things like wasting money buying a synthetic meat laboratory that was going to produce fake meat to compete with our cattle ranchers. We had $50 million on sports stadium upgrades so that the Chiefs and Royals can celebrate the FIFA World Cup next year. We had $26 million for a concrete walking path built over the top of I-70 in Kansas City. So just getting rid of the pork. I refer to the budget as making earmarks great again. Right. Getting rid of the pork. There's more pork than what we spend in personal property tax alone. That's a piece of it. We're going to right-size our state workforce. We have a 55,000 person state workforce that is twice what other states our size, like Indiana, have. And at any given time, out of that 55,000 person workforce, 5,000 to 7,000 of those positions are empty, and we're paying for them anyway. Exactly. So we're gonna stop paying for the empty positions. What about the $1 billion of waste that we have in our Medicaid program that we found in a third-party audit for our Medicaid rolls? We're wasting $1 billion there. So there is a ton of
it's easy to come up with the numbers real quick on that. Yeah.
Yeah, there is a ton of waste. Every single department in Jefferson City needs to see significant cuts. And it's going to take someone who's is a flamethrower. Mike Kehoe actually said, if you want a flamethrower, I'm not your guy. What he doesn't realize is I think a lot of Missouri Republicans are looking for a flamethrower right now because it's the flamethrower that's going to confront this status quo. And by the way, we're not going to be able to nice guy our way to reducing the size of budget. Every person that's getting these dollars is not going to want to let them go. We're going to have a disruptor confront that swamp and really clean up the mess in Jefferson City.
Yeah, I mean, one of the biggest problems we have within government is once they set their budgets and once they increase their budgets, they never reduce their budgets. So reducing the budgets for the different programs, things like that, that's the key and the biggest fight. Once you get that done, then you can control your spending, obviously.
You got it. You got it.
Yeah, and we have several people on our chat line that are asking us, when you get elected, what are you going to be able to do about the big cities? We all know how lovely Tashura Jones is. Yeah. How are you going to be able to work with that lovely lady in the city to clean it up so we can all go to like a Cardinals game?
Yeah. Great question. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to triple the highway patrol presence along the highways leading into and out of St. Louis City and Kansas City. Let's put law enforcement where the crimes are actually happening. We see all these conversations about shootings that are going on, people getting shot just on our highways. Well, the highways are the conduits that are being used by these criminals to get out to the suburban and the rural areas. Back in 2017, then Governor Eric Greitens actually had a program where he was increasing the highway patrol presence. We were putting hundreds and thousands of individuals, bad guys, in jail. But Mike Parson comes along and he stops that program. So we're going to go back. And actually put law enforcement where criminal activity is happening. In addition to that, we're going to start holding these cities accountable by saying that if they're not willing to put bad guys in jail, we're not funding any more of their boondoggle projects down in the city. If you want to get a local government under control quick, threaten them where they value the most. That's all the money they're getting from the state. I'm going to go do that as the governor of this state. I think they're going to get in line pretty darn quick.
Well, and I'm glad you mentioned Eric Greitens because we all miss him an awful lot. We think Eric Schmidt is a complete champion as well. But I really liked what you just said about Eric Greitens. He was really going to clean up that city. And then since he's not here, that city is just, I thought it couldn't get any worse, Bill, but it just is. It just keeps going down, down, down. So I really liked your answer to that. And, people on the chat line as well are saying there may be some buses, after the election that you can possibly buy, and it might be cheaper. And then if you lower the personal property tax for that, life is going to be really good here soon.
Definitely.
That's right. But think of the Missouri that is a leader in these United States. So, I mean, we talked about it earlier. We asked, hey, what states are doing well right now? In fact, folks say, well, Texas and Tennessee and Florida, and that's great. I love those states. They're great. But I want Missouri to be a leader. I want 4 years from now, some candidate in some other red state get asked the question of, who do we need to emulate? And they say, well, we need to be more like Missouri. Have you heard about all the great things they're doing? That's the Missouri I'm talking about. We want to be the leader in these United States. We elect more Republicans to Jefferson City than any of those states elect to their state capital. What we are lacking is leadership in the governor's mansion. And if we end up electing another rhino that's going to be soft on crime, that's going to be soft on the status quo like Mike Kehoe, we're never going to be number one in this country. I've got that bold conservative idea. I've been confronting the swamp for the past 8 years. We are going to be a leader in these United States.
Well, Bill, speaking of the swamp, last night at the RNC, was there anyone, in your opinion, that spoke last night? Even though I thought they all sounded fantastic, was there somebody that you're like, okay, yeah, you're saying all the right words, but you're really still a swamp creature?
Well, I tell you, I genuinely liked what we heard from. I don't know that there was somebody that I was thinking they were really a swamp creature. I really liked what we heard from J.D. Vance. I really liked what we heard from U.S. Senator Eric Schmidt. This was. The convention is about unifying the party. And especially after what happened last weekend and the assassination attempt on Donald Trump, I think that the Republican Party is united in our cause to take our country back in November and start implementing the Republican ideas that we always seem to get promised in campaign season, but never seem to last beyond campaign season. And we're excited about that. So we're going to keep our eyes out. Nobody's been more aggressive about calling out the rhinos than I have, especially in Missouri. That's going to continue. I'm going to unite the Republican Party in Missouri by implementing those big red Republican ideas. And for the Republicans in the legislature right now that don't want to go along with that, we are absolutely going to hold them accountable in the campaign seasons to come, and we're going to get them out of office.
Well, and you know what, Bill, it seems like we're getting close. What are we, 19 days away from the election? Is that how many days we're away?
Yeah.
I've noticed that, Ashcroft and Kehoe seem to be tied all the time, but it seems like right at the right time, your numbers are starting to come up. Yeah. It's almost as like maybe you guys, you and Jim Lemke maybe planned it that way.
well, I've been predicting this for 2 years. I mean, I think there's a lot of folks in Jefferson City who are very surprised right now that, oh my gosh, his numbers are going through the roof and he's surging. We actually had the latest poll that came out showed us within the margin of error of the lead with Kehoe and Jay Ashcroft continuing to fall behind. And it's difficult to focus too much on the specific numbers of any one poll, but look at the overall trends in all the polling that's come out. One, the polls all say the same thing. Jay Ashcroft is fading fast. He started this 2 years ago, polling in the mid 50s, and the most recent polling has him at 16 to 18%. So he has had a complete implosion of his campaign. And folks have just realized that he's not his dad, and his message is really, he's struggling to find that right message. And a lot of times he's copying my talking points, but of course a copy is never as good as the original. So we continue to press on. And in Kehoe's case, Mike Kehoe has spent $7 million on television since March, and just has barely moved up from where he was 2 years ago. So, I also used to say in when I ran my business that it takes a lot of money to sell a bad product, and that's what I believe Mike Kehoe is. He's the moderate in this race. He's being endorsed by all the editorial pages of the KC Star and others. He came out over the weekend. He can't help himself. He came out over the weekend and said my plan to deport the illegals was impractical. It was foolish. Those are his words. So when no matter how much money he is spending of the special interest money, he's still a Democrat. Folks are not going to buy that message. So we're now seeing my numbers. I'm excited that our numbers are surging. We expected this to happen, and to see it, it's certainly encouraging. But we've still got a lot of work to do over the next 19 days.
Yeah, there's a lot going on, I'm sure, in the last 19 days. And Bill, before we let you go, what do you think is the sentiment about our president? Well, I still call him our president. I'm sure you do too, Donald Trump. Do you think, I keep saying on Cancel This, that I think there's going to be another assassination attempt on him before November. What do you think about that? Do you think he's in great peril, or do you think, I think he's okay now?
Well, this is Donald Trump has been attacked constantly for as long as he's been in the public eye, for more than a decade. And, now we see the attacks becoming physical as direct violent assaults on him like we had last weekend. I suspect, although I don't know what type of attacks are going to come his way over the next few months, the attacks aren't going to stop. I mean, the left is trying to use what happened last weekend as a reason to tell us that we ought to be quiet, right? The left is now using that as an excuse to cancel us. So we're not going to buy into that. And Donald Trump is the last person on earth that's going to actually be beholden to now, at this point, being silent. We saw him pop right back up on that stage and shake his fist and tell folks to keep fighting, not just against the shooter that was directly threatening him, but against this swamp that he's been rallying against for years. There's no greater disruptor of the swamp than Donald J. Trump, and there hasn't been for the past decade. I'm just saying that I'm going to be that same disruptor in Jefferson City. We can get the kind of conservative results that I know folks want, because they show up every other year on the first Tuesday in November and demand that Missouri. They demand that disruptor. And the only reason they haven't gotten it is because of weak-kneed Republicans like Mike Kehoe, and we know who all the rhinos at the national level are, but we have our own problem here in Missouri. I know Donald Trump's going to get attacked. I'm getting attacked right now. Mike Kehoe's putting all sorts of ads attacking me right now. That's okay. We know what the truth is. We're going to continue to boldly move forward.
Well, and anybody that's doing a good job, just now, since I've been the co-host on this show, I get attacked all the time. But, I'm sure like you, Bill, it doesn't make you want to stop. It makes you want to speak louder, actually.
Yeah. And actually what makes me want to speak louder is just the fact that we're continuing to accumulate support. We're continuing to see folks come to our message, respond to my message. And really, every person that's reached out to me with a word of encouragement, every person that's reached out to me with a word of prayer, the prayer rally that we held in St. Charles City, we had so many people show up to that prayer rally. The fire marshal had to tell us to stop letting people in because we were violating fire code. Those are the things that give me strength, and meeting folks all over this state that are as frustrated and disappointed, as angry as you and I are. My message for all of your listeners out there, for everybody in the state of Missouri that are frustrated and disappointed with Republicans in Jefferson City, I just want you to know you're not alone. You are not alone. There are hundreds of thousands, millions of Missouri Republicans that are going to show up on August 6th and in November, and we are going to vote to take our state in a brand new direction. I'm excited. Folks who are excited. Let's go, Missouri. America needs us.
Well, and Susan on the chat line is saying she needs a sign. There's several people that don't have a sign now. Want their sign. Can they still get one, or is it too late?
You bet. Absolutely. Go to BillEichel.com. That's my website. There is a form on there where you can click and request a sign, and we will have one of our campaign members deliver a sign to your house. So go to BillEichel.com and check it out. You can sign up there. It's not too late. It's not too late.
Yeah, I'm sure you're just thinking like you're getting started. Well, David, do you have any more questions?
I have lots and lots of questions, but we could keep them here all day.
We could keep you here all day, Bill.
I can filibuster. You guys want me to filibuster?
Dr. Seuss.
Yeah, we don't have any Dr. Seuss books though.
Yeah, please keep saying it. Keep doing that. Well, Bill, we appreciate your time very much today. We know you're busy. We know it's down to 19 days, and you spent a lot of time with us.
Yes,
and I appreciate that so much. And that's one thing we like. We're going to give a tout for podcasts, is because we don't have to have a commercial break, and you can just keep on talking. And people really wanted to hear your message today.
Awesome. Well, it's always, I've been on the show many times.
Yes, you have.
This is a great show. I love what you guys are doing. You are absolutely, we have so many folks like y'all that are being that are trying to be canceled by the establishment forces. Those establishment forces are trying to cancel me. I love coming on their show. I'm happy to come on anytime you'd love to have me.
Well, we appreciate it. We appreciate your time, and it's always great hearing for you. And good luck, and we'll be praying for you.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Have a great morning.
You too.
Thanks, Bill.
Bye-bye. Well, that was great. And you know what? And thank you so much, David, for carrying that, because for a while I couldn't hear.
Yeah, I know.
Now I could hear. So, kudos to David and to Bill too, that they can keep this conversation, because David's not on the air very much. So I appreciate it.
I only had one other question for him, which I wasn't going to, as he was transitioning through. I'm hearing word that the state's going to take back over the police force in St. Louis.
Well, you know what? I've heard that too. And I know the police officers in St. Louis City want them to do that.
Correct.
So I have a feeling, I think all three of the candidates, in all fairness, would like to do that. Yeah. So, and
it's the way it used to be for many, many years. And
for many years. Yeah.
Returned control a few years back.
That's right. Well, that was great. And so, we're going to bring all the candidates to you and let you make a whatever your educated decision is. Yeah. And I'm glad Bill came on. And these candidates are really rocking it, because they will stay on with us for 30 minutes straight or more. And I appreciate that. And I know they're so busy the last 19 days. I mean, I bet they don't sleep.
It's the big push.
It's the big push, for sure. It's the big push. And we really don't want rhinos in there. And, and I say this all the time on Cancel This, rhinos is an overused word, because sometimes good conservatives call somebody they don't agree with as a rhino, but you really have to do your research, because we don't want rhinos running our country, running our state anymore. And that's why getting to the RNC, and that's why I wanted to ask Bill and I specifically said last night, was there any swamp creatures? I think the really only swamp creature that I think I saw up there that's really still swampy was Nikki Haley. But that being said, we need her votes. We need her very moderate, little left of maybe as conservative than I would like it. And she's behind him. And she said solidly behind him. And so I even liked Ron DeSantis had said he's backing him, period. And that meant, or no, maybe that was Nikki Haley, but either one, I really enjoy that even the maybe not as right a center as I'd like are getting behind him as well.
For sure.
Yeah. And there was so much.
And politically speaking, if you're not behind him, you're not in office.
That that's right. If you're not behind him, you're not in office. Or I like the people who maybe are not Donald Trump people are getting on that train now. And I notice people that are not even running right now are still wanting to back the people that are. And I think that is a really positive, because that's the only way we win. Because I don't want to be one of those people that said, it's going to be a red wave. Because when we said that, it didn't happen. No. And I don't want to be somebody either that says it's too big to rig, because these people the deep state and the Democrats, they're in full panic mode. Full panic mode. And so, we're going to get into the RNC and we're going to get into Donald Trump and all of that. But we've got a couple videos of people right now that are literally, they're Joy Reid. I know you guys don't really want to hear much from Joy Reid, but I have to play this. There's two videos, and Pro Joe, it doesn't matter which one that
Reid
you play.
Reid or Behar, we don't like either one.
Yeah, we don't like either one of them.
Reid,
but I believe it's Joy Reid, because she was the one. When you're at the RNC, it's interesting that swampy people are still there. So let's play this first video and see what you guys think.
That's a question that I have on that. These two men are both elderly. Donald Trump is an elderly man who, for whatever reason, was given 9 seconds to take a iconic photo op during an active shooter situation. Weird situation. We'll figure that out one day. But his survival of that and bouncing right back and going right to his convention is being conveyed in the media world as a sign of strength. This current president of the United States is 81 years old and has COVID. Should he be fine in a couple of days? Doesn't that convey exactly the same thing? That he's strong enough, older than Trump, to have gotten something that used to really be fatal to people his age. So if he does fine out of it and comes back and is able to do rallies, isn't that exactly the same?
It should.
It's not exactly the same. It's not the same incident, but it's an elderly man coming through out of an illness.
It should.
Are these people for real, David? Are they for real?
She's nuts.
That's what they found weird.
She really is nuts. She is such a bigot. And I guess her own eyes don't want to see that this guy, regardless of whether he has COVID or not, because you get COVID, especially these days when the strains are so much less, it's not the same thing as almost being assassinated and being shot in the ear. I don't even get it.
Unless she's signaling the fact that COVID for Biden is being shot.
Good point. Yeah. Because in a little bit, we're going to pay.
Because he might be Clintoned.
He might be Clintoned. Good point. And I know Projo and I in a little bit are going to be showing Joe Biden going up the stairs. And Projo and I both had the same thought. And we'll play that in a little bit. And let's play the other Joy Reid one. She was really on fire being stupid yesterday. So, there's sometimes I don't understand these people. And maybe I'm not supposed to understand it because I try to come from political ways with common sense. I'm not always right, but I try to look at everything in a broad stroke and then break it down. And common sense to me is only that. It is only to the fact that you can do common sense values.
So the second Joy Reid video was a duplicate.
I can't hear you, Pro Joe.
You can't hear me? What is going on with this thing?
I can hear you, Joe.
Okay.
So can you hear me now? No? Okay.
Okay.
He needs Verizon.
The Joy Reid video, there was a duplicate.
Verizon or Spectrum or something.
So the Joy Reid video.
It was a duplicate.
Okay. All right. Very good. Well, then, Joe, if you could find, that's no problem. Joe, if you could find the Joe Biden going up the steps when they tell him. So Joe Biden, okay.
The walking away into the sunset video.
Yes, the walking away. And you know what's interesting is at first they reported he was going to go back to the White House and he was going to, self-isolate there. Now he's going to his beach house.
Going to Delaware.
He's going to Delaware. And watch this video, guys. Okay, for anybody that is not watching this is Joe Biden going on Air Force One. He can't hardly walk.
you know, the Secret Service agent standing behind him, literally watched him take each step one at a time.
Very eerie.
It is very eerie. It is like Bojo and I said, it's literally like walking to his death. Now watch this.
It's like before he started walking, they were like, you know, all right, keep steady, stand straight up. You got this, buddy.
You got this, buddy.
Be regal in your departure.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Bindi and Mandy have also said on there, where's his mask? He's got COVID, where's his mask?
Oh, that's a good point.
Right.
That is a really good point. When you think about Joe Biden, okay, you can cut that off now, Joe. It's when you see him, I didn't even think about that at first because I'm so used to not seeing masks that Bindi and a bunch of people, I saw them say on Facebook, he didn't have a mask. And think about it, he went to Vegas to do some sort of a conference. I don't even remember what the conference is because I try not to pay attention to him the best I can. But he was like, these people really believe that if you have COVID and you're spitting all over everyone else, you're going to give it. And I'm not saying you're not, but think about all the kids he was getting close to.
Sniffing their hair.
Sniffing their hair.
Right.
Yeah, sniffing their hair. And now they don't have to wear masks. Now, I know he's been vaccinated 1 trillion times and at least boosted 6 times. So he doesn't need it, I guess. But I also think that maybe that is the last, maybe they don't off him. But maybe they can now because Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer came out over the last day or so and now have asked him to resign, asked him to step down. And he said if those people or a lot of other people say he was too sick, well, they fixed that, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know if he has COVID. And this is me being conspiratorial.
Well, with no mask, maybe he doesn't.
Right. That's why I want to think.
Or maybe that really wasn't him. As Gary was saying, it looked a little bit like a robot trying to walk upstairs.
Right.
Like maybe one of the Tesla robots that
That's
kind of dressed up.
That's right. He's a Tesla robot because Elon Musk is getting $45 million to Donald Trump's campaign now.
Oh yeah,
that is great. Okay, and so I want to put a plug out for Tesla.
Per week, isn't it?
No, many of you do not like it.
Yeah, I think it's per month.
Per month, per day.
Per week? I'm sorry, it's per month. What did I say?
You just said 45 million.
Okay, flat. Per month.
Yeah,
per month. Okay, so yesterday I was paying attention to that. And a lot of people hate Tesla, especially conservatives, because the left people are trying to say it's green. You're all just green. Well, I love freedom of choice. So if you want a Tesla, I know a lot of great conservatives that have Teslas, Tesla trucks, whatever. I saw a Tesla truck the other day on Facebook that somebody had painted it all red, white, and blue and said it's the only true American-made car. Thank you, Elon. So think about that. It is. It's 100% American made. So,
well, what about the batteries and stuff? Those electronic parts, I'm sure some of them come from a different country.
I don't know. That's just what Elon said. They probably nothing is totally.
But then again, GM,
I mean, the only
Ford,
thing that
they're all like that.
The batteries, lithium batteries, and things like that. I know in my previous role, I had a lot of knowledge about that aspect of where it came from. In America, they are just broke ground on a huge lithium mine or mining operation in the, I guess it's the Midwest to West area, Nevada, Utah, in that area there.
Well, there you go.
And that will basically supplant the lithium that they're getting from other areas.
Correct.
Is that lithium or cobalt?
Lithium.
Oh, okay. I thought they had a cobalt mine here in America.
GM
again,
put
or now
a little bit of money into it because they're going to try and get there and source everything from them.
Mm-hmm. Well, and here, I love this. This is great. Megan's comment right now is the left is accusing Elon of buying the election. Isn't that something else? That he's buying the election, yet it was okay for Zuckerbucks to
Soros,
all of those people. I mean, think about what they're doing. But now we've got, so this is why I do think this election is different, not just because the RNC has everybody unifying. And of course, I think that is fantastic. But I also like that we now have places to speak, because before X, you couldn't say a word. And now we can navigate more platforms. And a show like ours could not have been done in 2016. In 2020, they were banning us totally. Now there's a little bit more freedom of speech back after Elon Musk did what he did. So buy away, Elon, buy away. And now if you want a Tesla, I'm not telling you to go out and buy one. I don't have one. I got some relatives that have one, but you can do it with a little bit less guilt. So you do you, boo, is what I always say about that. So, but speaking of buying elections, and some of you guys mentioned Soros, Joe, when you have time, I've sent him so many videos, so it takes a minute for him to find them, but find the video of the Soros protesters. So Laura Loomer, who she tends to be right about a lot of things. I've noticed you even got to check Laura Loomer. Vic loves her, and I do too, but she isn't always right, as we're not all always right, but she gets down and dirty and finds some really good stuff. And so here is Laura Loomer, and this was on Rumble, that there is some people that are illegals admitting on camera that Soros is paying them. And this is right outside of the RNC.
I remember you from New York outside of the trial.
I'm not the one that you claim was an invader, and I should go back where I came from. I'm that one that you want to fucking talk to me.
How did you guys get here?
That you want to fucking talk to me? Seriously.
Who did you guys come here with? Did you guys get paid?
How about you? Dark money paid for me to get here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, dark money paid for me to get here.
Dark money?
Soros paid for us to get here.
I got George Soros money.
Wow.
I'm a millionaire. I
got
got
George Soros money.
George
I
Soros
got
paid
George
for us to
Soros
get
money.
here.
Wow, really?
George
George
Soros paid for
Soros.
us to get here.
George
George Soros paid for us to get here.
George Soros, give us money. George Soros, give us money. My name's activist there. I'm a big activist here. And I get paid by the Democratic Party.
You got paid by the Democrat Party?
Huh?
You got paid by the Democrats?
Sure. If you want to believe that, why you gonna go on conspiracy theory and tag them there? Like you guys know him? Literally. It's about to do that.
Trump's a loser.
Little baby loser.
Trump's
What do you guys
a loser.
think about the assassination attempt?
Oh, it was staged. That was staged.
It was
That was
staged?
staged.
Tell Trump
Don't
and
give
pull
a
up
fuck.
right here at the
That
strip
was
club
staged.
right now. I'm buying
That was
everybody
staged,
right
man.
there.
Don't give a
Bottles,
fuck.
everything on
That
me
was
right
staged.
now. I'm trying to
We
do
don't give a fuck.
What did you say?
It was staged.
We
I
don't
said,
give
tell
a fuck.
Trump, tell Kodak, everybody pull up right now at the strip club. We party, everything's on me. I'm buying everything. Let's go.
Okay, what is your takeaway of that, David? I mean, go ahead. What is your takeaway of that? Do you have one?
I mean, honestly, look at them.
Right.
Yes, they're saying they're from Soros. They're saying from
Uh-huh.
Democrat. We dealt with it when we had protests in a local area here,
Mm-hmm.
the BLM riots and things like that, and you could see them literally being paid
Yes,
by the personnel afterwards. They lined up, got their cash, went on their way.
we did. We saw that as you and I were reporting on a BLM riot, and we could see it right away. And look who they get. They get people that are absolutely not right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, these are the people that want to make decisions in America.
Right. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah.
They can't even, make the right decision on, how to paint a sign or I mean, you see the stuff that they were protesting with. If they're getting George Soros money, you think that they'd be able to afford better signs and maybe even better clothing.
That's right. That's right. I mean, you would, but that's what, okay, like even the shooter, we've talked so much on the show about the shooter that tried to assassinate Donald Trump. That's what the left has become. There is something wrong. And please, I don't mean to be mean about this. I really don't. But there is a screw loose or a mental deficiency in a lot of these people's heads. And so somebody that loves their country is not going to let Soros pay them to do a damn thing. They're not. They can't be bought.
Their allegiance is money. It has nothing to do with the party.
Correct. Yes. And so it just, and like Annette's saying, actors, because they're getting paid. And that's what it is. These same people go to every one of these riots and get paid. And back in Ferguson, we didn't know right away it was Soros, or at least I didn't. I did not know it was Soros. Now it's like they're taunting us. They're meaning Soros, no longer hiding that it's him.
No, they're not. They're definitely not in the background.
Yeah, they're not. They're definitely not. And so, when I see the RNC, so last night, it was so good. And we have so many great Missourians that are there. And we have so many people, all across the United States that are there. And they all like Donald Trump, or they wouldn't be there. Because we talked yesterday, Vic and I talked yesterday about how there was the real rhinos were not there yesterday, like Paul Ryan and Romney and all of those old codgers, as I call them. They're not there. I don't know if it's because they don't want to meet or they're not invited, but either case, they weren't there. So we're starting to see this new blood that is coming there. And I'm excited about it. I am so excited about it. And there were so many great speakers there last night. And it wasn't lost on me that they were millennials. And I think Donald Trump sees that too. So, for example, many of us have found out why J.D. Vance was picked. Donald Trump narrowed it down to 3 people. Mm-hmm. And it was J.D. Vance, but that was due to Don Jr. wanted him. Then it was Vivek Ramaswamy, and that was because Eric Trump wanted him. Mm-hmm. So for whatever reason, Donald Trump's pick would have been Rubio, which we kind of thought that. I don't understand that. I don't understand that.
Yeah, I don't understand Rubio as a pick at all.
I don't. And I think now he's gotten behind Donald Trump, but I'm glad his sons got to him. And I saw Rubio there last night at the RNC. And for about maybe a third, fourth of it, he was sitting right next to Donald Trump. And it seems like the last 3 nights, they're rotating people in and out, maybe to show support. I don't know what the reason is behind that. But I'm glad his sons did get to him and say, get a millennial in there. And I don't think Rubio's that old. It's just he still, to me, seems like the old guard. There is a video that if you could get, Joe, of Eric Trump, and he's with Benny, and I always forget his name. Is it Benny Thompson or Benny Johnson?
Johnson.
Okay, thank you. And so if you could find that video, and they're all talking, and it's Eric, this is a side of Eric Trump. I just was laughing. I didn't know if he was drinking or he's just being silly, but this was funny.
For Eric, are you a little bit sad that you don't get to see Vivek debate Kamala Harris for VP?
By the way, I am. I am. By the way, Kamala was given 2 tasks, right? She was put in charge of AI. And as I always say, I don't think Kamala could spell AI. I totally mean that.
There we go.
Right. And then second of all, she was put in charge of being the border czar. And what is the first thing that Kamala does when she's put in charge of being the border czar? She goes to Vietnam. I kid you not. And so, yes, I would love to see my man right here, my running mate in 2032. I would love to see him date Kamala. I mean,
You heard it here first.
It's sad. Guys, we got to get this country back, and Donald Trump will. Honestly, you saw the fight. When he's bleeding from the side of the ear, side of the face, and he comes out saying, I want to... His life would have been so much better not being in politics, and he wants to fight for this country. And honestly, it's going to be so much fun to watch term number 2. He knows where all the skeletons are buried. He knows where all the crooks in Washington, D.C. is. They have tortured him for years. He will take great pride in firing every single one of them.
Yep.
And that's exactly what we need. And by the way, I have more respect for this man than anybody. I hope he takes the biggest position in Washington, D.C.
Woo!
Because if there's ever somebody who will go in there and clean out an agency and rid them of the corruption and of the nonsense, it's Vivek, and he would have my full support, believe me.
I don't want to speak. I don't want to get ahead of myself here, but what I've heard whispered is that Vivek would be excellent for DHS, which would put him in charge of the Secret Service.
Yeah, well,
which would put you in charge of the Secret Service.
They keep setting a really low bar for everybody to clear here. I'll say this one thing on the point Eric made, though. We talk a lot about the mass deportations of millions of illegals from the country, and we're all in favor of that. But we also need to mass deport millions of those federal bureaucrats out of Washington, D.C.
Yep.
That is the second mass deportation that's going to save this country. And let's have some real talk, right? Because even in the primary, one of the questions you'll get is, well, why didn't Donald Trump do that in the first term? Here's an answer to that question. The Supreme Court only paved the way in the last 2 years. So in 2017, Trump actually did not have the toolkit to actually gut that actual bureaucracy, to go in and drain the swamp. There were legal obstacles that now don't exist. So I think this is a once-in-a-century opportunity to save the country, get rid of the managerial bureaucracy, and actually create a constitutional republic that our founding fathers envisioned. And Donald Trump's going to be the man to do it.
Can I mention one thing on that? I want everybody to know, and Vivek just touched on this, but the numbers are a lie. You see the employment numbers in this country, right? And they go up 200,000 a month, and people are like, oh, okay, those are okay numbers. 60% of all jobs created in this country in the last 4 years have been government jobs, roughly 1.6 million, right? Those aren't people that are paying taxes. Those are people that your taxes are paying for. Yet no one wants to come out because the media is dishonest. No one wants to come out and actually break down those job numbers and tell you that those are actually half the jobs that are in there, over half the jobs that are in there. Your taxpayer, right? The 87,000 IRS agents, but across the federal government and across local and state governments, it's about 1.6 million. That's how augmented our government has gotten, and it's a disgrace. It's a disgrace. We need less government, a whole lot less government, not more.
And yeah, I want everybody. We've got a good audience here. Let's just take a pulse on this. All right. It's going to be clunky. It's going to be a little clunky.
And I do want to tell, before you do the poll, I do want to tell our viewers, because we have tens of thousands, we have hundreds of thousands watching right now. The reason why we're kind of in the round here is very Shakespearean. There's an incredible audience.
I just thought that was great. And that showed a different side of Eric Trump, because Eric Trump always seems to be, up until recently, like the third kid. It always seemed like Don Jr. and Ivanka was always got the spotlight. And Eric Trump has really risen. And his wife the other night was so awesome on the RNC. And somebody on the chat line just said, where is Ivanka? Ivanka came out and said she's not going to be politically connected this time. She will come to the inauguration, but most of the time she's not. And, you know, as far as that, I understand that politics takes a really big toll. They went after her really hard. I think her husband
as well.
Yeah, and her husband as well. And I think he really helped Donald Trump get elected in 2016. But I think he's still, I don't know that he's a lefty, but I don't think he's a true conservative. And I think some of the things that he was in actually hurt Donald Trump. So I think that was wise for Ivanka to not be involved. But I just wanted to show this clip that Eric is very involved and his wife are very involved. And that was a side of Eric I had never seen before.
Yeah, he's kind of coming into his own now.
Yeah, I think he's definitely.
With Laura taking over RNC and with him taking over the Trump properties and the Trump company, the name and logo and everything.
Yeah, yeah. And people are all talking about Melania. What I had heard, and I can't remember where I heard this, I think it was on Fox on an interview, but that Barron was very scared that when you figure, guys, I think, what is he, 15?
No, he just graduated high school.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so 18. He watched his dad. I mean, and that's different than a 35-year-old where you can collect yourself. But if you're 18 and you just thought your dad died, apparently that frightened him a lot. And so Melania is a mother bear. Right now, from what I understand the interview, she's keeping him out of the limelight because after there is a hit out on him by Iranians. And like you even heard Bill Eigel earlier, none of us that are very tuned into politics believe for 1 minute they're not going to try to do other things to him again, including unalive him again. So I don't blame Melania for keeping her son out of the limelight right now. I mean, I get it. If it's still a month and you don't ever see her, I think we're going to start getting concerned. But I don't, my gosh, this was just Saturday and we're just now Thursday. It's not even been a week that this has happened. So as a mama bear, I don't know that I would do anything different. And
the liberals are using it as saying, oh, she doesn't support him. She really just wants a divorce from him.
Yeah, that's
can't
not
stand
true.
being around him.
Yeah, all that is an absolute lie.
Yeah.
But that doesn't surprise us, does it? I mean, they just do that. But speaking of the Trump family, they had, despite the fact Melania wasn't there or Ivanka wasn't there, there was somebody that came on there last night that we've never seen before. And so, Joe, if you could find the video of his granddaughter. His granddaughter was there last night, and I believe she's 14 years old, and she spoke of the poise of a Trump. And so I just thought his granddaughter, her name is Kai Madison Trump, and here she is. And look at this picture right now. If you can see it, look at Donald Trump's face. And I thought it's beaming. And I thought the very first night he looked tired and he was exhausted. Night 2, I thought he looked fine. And last night I thought he looked completely back to normal. But that is the face of a grandfather looking at his granddaughter. If you could play it, Joe.
On Saturday, I was shocked when I heard that he has been shot. And I just wanted to know if he was okay. It was heartbreaking that someone would do that to another person. A lot of people have put my grandpa through hell, and he's still standing. Grandpa, you are such an inspiration, and I love you. The media makes my grandpa seem like a different person, but I know him for who he is. He's very caring and loving. He truly wants the best for this country, and he will fight every single day to make America great again. Thank you very much.
What a beauty, as Megan said. What a beauty. And Brenda corrected me that she's 17.
Yeah.
What a poised, beautiful young lady. Donald Trump, love him or hate him. And I know most of our listeners do, but I can see on YouTube, and we got a few haters here today. Love him or hate him. He is a wonderful parent. Look at all 5 of his kids. Despite whatever their political beliefs are, they're tremendous human beings. Tremendous. And look at his eldest granddaughter. Looks like she's going to go up. And I don't have this clip because you guys can go back and see it yourself, but she even challenges her grandpa on the golf course. And when he tries to get in her head, she said, I thought this was great. She said, I don't let him get in my head. And she said, he tries, but he's got to remember, I'm a Trump too. I just thought that was just absolutely beautiful. And her story about Trump calling her at school too, Glenn reminded me, was awesome. I've done this before to my kids where I want to talk to them and you call them during school. I thought that was great. Her grandpa calls her during school and she has to remind him, Grandpa, I'm in school.
Right.
So, I mean, think about all the people that was on the RNC last night.
Explain that. I mean, basically, so you get a call from the president.
Yeah.
Donald Trump at school.
Yeah.
Do you turn that down? Does your teacher tell you to put the phone away?
But you know what? To her, and she said this, that's only her grandpa.
Right.
It's different than, like, if I got a phone call from Donald Trump, I would stop everything. But maybe if it's your grandpa, you can text him back or call him back and go, hey, Grandpa, I'm in school.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought she did a great job of letting us know that's her grandpa. That's not President Trump to him, but all of his relatives, including Don Jr.'s daughter-in-law. Well, I guess she's not a daughter-in-law yet. I guess it's the fiance of Don Jr. Even she spoke highly of him.
Guilfoyle.
Yeah, Guilfoyle. Yeah. You know what? I was chatting with all the people that we work with during hers. She was funny in the fact that she didn't get prime time. Now, maybe it's because she's not a wife yet. Laura Trump got prime time. She got it during a time when people are still milling around. And so I had to go to a different platform to even find her because Fox cut her off. Like they kept talking over her and never even played her. So you had to go to alternative sources to see Kimberly Guilfoyle. So I don't know what you all want to make of that, but if you guys want to tell me what you thought about that, and like Heather's saying, something bugs me about Kimberly, and Heather's saying that, and I've said
Her
that.
smile bugs me.
Well, she got some work done, so that's not the smile she used to have.
No,
I thought she was beautiful
or the
beforehand.
cheeks or the eyebrows.
Yeah, and I'm not making fun of people that
Chin.
got work done at all, but I thought she was prettier before she got the work done.
Most.
And I have to ask God to forgive me for my thoughts about her after the whole Eric Greitens thing. So, she let people think Eric Greitens was the Eric he was talking about, and it was Eric Schmidt. And then and because it was a future daughter-in-law and all that was just a thing. And I'm not going to go into that. I went into that the other day. So, but even so, everybody says great things about Donald Trump that is near him family-wise. And I just think that's great. And I noticed Don Jr.'s ex-wife was there with all the kids. And I thought that was really interesting too.
Mm-hmm.
So that said a lot about that. And if you can find now, Projo, we're going to go on now talking about J.D. Vance. And I'm one of the people that I didn't know a whole lot about him other than he was a senator, other than he was still in his 30s. I didn't dislike him. Vic and I guessed that he might be the VP because he was the only one of the ones in the running that got extra security. And I couldn't wait to hear him. I can't
wait to hear him either. I mean, talking with our own family last night, our daughter knew all about his movie, his book, and everything about him. And so she's thrilled.
Yes.
And that's bringing in a younger generation that we haven't had in a while.
Correct. And I think that was very, very smart, because all of my children from 15 up to, we David and I have 5 children ranging from 32 down to 15. And they all liked that choice because their point of views, all of our kids was saying how millennials see Donald Trump and how they see Joe Biden may not be the way you and I see them. A lot of them, they're going to vote for Trump, but they're tired of the old people.
Right.
So I'm not saying I agree with that. I'm not saying I agree with that at all. I just think that the millennial was a great choice. And then when I heard him speak, because like our oldest daughter, she loves him. And long before he was even going to run, she was it, and I said the name wrong yesterday. It's Hillbilly Elegy. She had already read his book and seen the movie, and I have not seen the movie yet. And this weekend, when I have time, I'm going to watch the movie. People say that if you didn't like him before, you will like him now. So, Joe, if you could play the video of J.D. Vance.
I stand here humbled, and I'm overwhelmed with gratitude to say I officially accept your nomination to be Vice President of the United States of America. I grew up in Middletown, Ohio. A small town where people spoke their minds, built with their hands, and loved their God, their family, their community, and their country with their whole hearts. But it was also a place that had been cast aside and forgotten by America's ruling class in Washington. I was lucky. Despite the closing factories and the growing addiction in towns like mine, in my life, I had a guardian angel by my side. She was an old woman who could barely walk, but she was tough as nails. I called her Mamaw, the name we hillbillies gave to our grandmothers. Mamaw raised me as Mamaw raised me as my mother struggled with addiction. Some people tell me I've lived the American dream, and of course they're right, and I'm so grateful for it. But the American dream that always counted most was not starting a business or becoming a senator or even being here with you fine people, though it's pretty awesome. My most important American dream was becoming a good husband and a good dad. But my fellow Americans here in this stage and watching at home, this moment is not about me, it's about all of us, and it's about who we're fighting for. And our movement is about single moms like mine, who struggled with money and addiction, but never gave up. And I'm proud to say that tonight my mom is here, 10 years clean and sober. I love you, Mom. Together, we will put the citizens of America first, whatever the color of their skin. We will, in short, make America great again. And I promise you one more thing. To the people of Middletown, Ohio, and all the forgotten communities in Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Ohio, and every corner of our nation, I promise you this: I will be a vice president who never forgets where he came from.
That was great. So,
Yeah, it was.
So you had you seen that clip yet?
No.
Because I don't think, okay.
That's why I was watching so intently.
That's right. Because he had to pull,
I was busy digging a truck out of a ditch yesterday.
That's right. That's another story. But anyway, so after hearing that, for somebody that has not seen that before, and some of our listeners have not seen that before either, what did you think about him with knowing not much about him beforehand?
He seems genuine.
You think he seems genuine?
Yeah, he's humble, genuine. I mean, he comes from obviously a troubled background. You never hear mention of a father. I didn't hear whether the father was around or passed away or something like that. The fact that he's raised by a single mom.
Well, he was raised by Mamaw.
Pew Pew Mamaw.
Your Pew Pew Mamaw. What I liked about Mamaw that I thought was great. Okay, so Pew Pew Mamaw. So a lot of people reached out to me last night and was telling me that they absolutely didn't like how J.D. Vance treated his mom. And I didn't see anything wrong with how he treated his mom. And I watched it in entirety. I actually sat there and watched it with my 2 youngest daughters. They liked how he treated his mom. His mom wasn't a good mom. Mm-mm. She was abusive. The dad left. And I still thought he honored her. He had her there. He even asked Donald Trump last night if her 10-year celebration could be in the White House. So I thought she's getting honored more maybe than she deserves. I thought that Mama, though, was a hoot. I would love to have met Mama, because two things that I liked about Mama, he called Mama a blue dog Democrat who had a lot of pew-pews.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of pew-pews.
You remember how many he said?
No, I don't.
19.
19
She had
pew-pews.
19 handguns everywhere.
Yeah, that was
in the closet, in the sink.
Yeah.
In
everywhere.
the dresser. In the bathroom.
Do you remember why she had so many?
That I didn't hear.
No, I heard it.
Okay, say it, Joe.
It's because when you get old, you can't move as fast. So she wanted to be prepared no matter what room she was in.
Isn't that great? I just thought that was fantastic. And look, he grew up with a drug addicted mom and a mama with 19 guns, and he didn't go take it and go try to kill a president.
Mm-mm.
You know, I mean, it just shows greatness that you can rise from anything. But the best statement I thought he made about Mama was that Mama already knew that she had a daughter that was drug addicted.
Right.
And they lived on the wrong side of the tracks. And he started hanging out with a guy that was doing drugs or was known to do drugs. And Mama told him that if JD continued to hang around the drug guy, she'd run him over with her car. And I just thought that was just some good stuff. He seemed very relatable. But who else I was very impressed with, Joe, if you can find the video of his wife. So if you guys have not, some people are telling me to play that. I almost wasn't going to, but I just got a couple private messages that they hadn't seen her last night. So if you could play the video of his wife.
It is my great privilege.
No, go ahead, Joe. Go ahead. It's great.
To introduce my husband and the next Vice President of the United States, JD Vance.
That was just her introducing her husband.
Speech on that.
Yeah, that was just great. That was really awesome. So I just thought that was wonderful. And she didn't, her speech was a lot longer, but I thought she seemed genuine too. I thought she genuinely liked him. I don't know what they can say bad about her. They're going to, meaning the left, they're going to say bad things.
I can think of one thing they're going to say right away.
What are they going to say? She's
going to be a traditional wife, not work outside of the home.
Yeah, how do you know that?
Because she quit her job already as soon as he announced that he was going to be
That
VP.
is true. That's true. They could say that.
We'll try and hold
about
that
her.
against her.
Yeah, I guess that's the only thing they could hold against her, because they now cannot say that Donald Trump is a racist. They're going to still say it, but they can't.
Yeah,
Look
they
at
gotta
all
continue.
the people that he is surrounded by. Think about that. Yeah, that's very interesting. I love it. I love everything about that. And I think, some people on our chat line are saying they still don't know what they think about JD Vance. And someone even said they're still going to replace JD Vance. I don't know how they do that. Somebody explained that to me. I think it might've been Gary. Okay. So JD Vance now has been picked. The RNC has granted, the approval, so to speak, too. How do you get rid of that? I mean, you don't. Okay. So I just wanted to clear that up, because I don't blame Gary.
The logic doesn't follow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't blame people for being skeptic about that, because there's so much going on that good conservatives have to deal with.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, we have a video that I believe it was the second day, Marjorie Taylor Greene, MTG. These are things that we were talking about before the show. We've got a video of her literally going after a reporter at the RNC. And Joe and I were talking about, why didn't she do this before? Well, they did. These people did try to do this in 16 and 20, but here's the problem, okay? The problem is we couldn't be on then because X wouldn't allow it. And this is something found on X. So love MTG or hater, watch this. This is good.
Like me, President Trump, I have some of the most highest amount of death threats because of people like you. Because you choose to only take certain words from people, and then that's what you want to report. Shame on you. Shame on you.
But
Because
no.
You're the problem. And where's this woman from?
The Times.
You're from the Times. Okay, you're ridiculous. And you're the problem in our country. You lie about people like me. This is the first time you've ever talked to me. I want you to know I'm a regular person like you. I'm also a mom. I have 3 kids. And we have to put up with the most unreal amount of bullshit because of little liars like you that take your job and turn it into political activism. Your job is the press. You should report the news. Not lie about it. You don't get to ask any more questions. I'm done with you. Okay. Because you're the cause. You're the cause of our country. No. You're the cause of our country being divided. You're the cause of our country being divided. You're the cause of President Trump almost being assassinated. You're the cause of everything wrong in America. No, you're done. You're done. Yeah, go back.
Thank you.
Is JD Vance going to be?
That was great. That was great because I literally, don't you want to do that? Like, there's always some asshat reporter. I mean, even locally, Vic worked for the local news, and there's always some asshat reporter. I have asshat reporters that try to come after me too, ever since I've been on the show. Nobody cared what I said before. Nobody cared what I did. But even now, I have asshat reporters that try to track me down and say false things. That is what people should say to these asshat reporters that get out of my face. You didn't care about me until I was trying to bring across policies and things.
Exactly.
I like Megan's suggestion in chat. MTG for Speaker of the House.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. That's so true. So true. So, that's just so interesting, but I love her too. And I don't always agree with her approach, not because I think anything she said is wrong, but it's because she is dealing with a lot of rhinos that she just has to deal with these people all the time. So, I love it. Good for her. I agree with her. We need to call out these asshat reporters. And I like that Vic Faust is on the show because he knows that happens. He knows that reporters will stalk you down and do things because now you're doing policy and now you have a mouth. So, yeah. What do you think about that, Mr. Sparks?
Bring it on.
Bring it on. Bring it on. And that's just one of the things that you have to deal with. But speaking about bringing it on, last night at the RNC, I just thought it was amazing. I just thought that one of the best things was JD. I thought it was the granddaughter, and it was just awesome. I mean, it really was. The only thing that I am looking more forward to is tonight, because tonight Donald Trump is going to take the stage. Not only is it the first time that he's going to do that after somebody tried to kill him, it's also a completely different RNC than the last 2 times. 2016, it wasn't unified there. Most people, I shouldn't say most, at least half the people there didn't want him president. You had all these rhinos. Now, anybody that we're interviewing that has been there seem to think that there's now a unifying sort of aura that's never been there before. And I think these people still don't all agree with each other. And when they still get to Capitol Hill, it's going to be an issue. So, yeah. So
I got nothing right now.
You got nothing?
No.
You got nothing? Yeah. Okay. I am going to call him Mika. I'm going to call you Mika. So
she's kind of brainless. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm not calling you brainless. I would never call you brainless. Although, you know what? I am going to tell everybody on the show the other day, I never do this, but one day I said to him, we've been married forever. We've been together since you were in our 50s. We've been together since I'm 15, he's 16. And I said, after all these years, why do you love me, David? And he just looked at me, didn't know what to say. And I said, give me a couple reasons. And you know what?
He said, give me 5.
Okay. But his number one reason was because you're ridiculous. That's literally what he said. He said, it's because you're ridiculous. And you know what? I guess I really am ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
And I am ridiculous for getting out the truth. And I'm ridiculous that we've got to get the rhinos out. We've got to call out people that are lying. We've got to be an MTG and call these reporters, because it's not going to stop. And between now, because there's 19 days, I think Bill Eigel said, between now and the primary.
Correct.
So it's going to get nasty locally. And I mean nasty. And then from the primary to November, I fear for Donald Trump's life. I think that there's another hit out on him. I think to be honest, I think there's a hit out on Joe Biden too. I don't know if we're ever going to see him again or not. So I think we need to be praying for these people and figure out where do we go from here. So yeah, I don't know about that. But we have, so Joe, what other videos do we have? What all do we have? I know we've got several left.
We have quite a few. I was going to send you a list, but it would have been a lot to read.
Yeah, yeah.
The wholesome Vance. We've got Trump completely broke the left.
Yes, play that one.
Right.
Trump completely broke the left. This is good. Watch this, guys.
It's a false flag.
False flag.
Yeah, false flag.
Somebody died and 2 people injured. What do you think about that?
False flag.
False flag.
I thought it was magnificently staged. It was professionally done. It almost looked real.
Wait. Staged by who?
Oh, by Mr. Trump, of course.
I think this whole thing is staged.
You think it was staged?
Yeah.
It depends on everybody's view. Yeah.
View of the assassination attempt? What do you think? Does it kind of depend on where you're standing, whether or not you agree with the assassination attempt or disagree with it?
I just don't see that being the truth, but that's I'd rather just not make any comment.
Really quick, what are you talking about the truth? What do you mean? Oh, you just don't believe it was an assassination attempt?
No.
Please don't. We're so anti-Trump. I don't even want to.
Was it a bad thing, though? Was it a bad thing? Would you condemn it?
Oh, that he got shot at? Of course.
Yeah, you never do that.
Of course, you don't do that.
That's all I'm asking.
Yeah, that's really bad. Yeah, exactly. You don't do that. Was it staged? Probably.
Staged?
Yeah.
Okay, so you think Trump maybe staged a fake assassination for support? Okay. And that resulted in somebody dying and other people being critically injured?
I haven't seen the news today. I'm not here for the news. I haven't seen anything. I'm on vacation.
So you just thought it was fake?
Of course.
One person died in the crowd, 2 critically injured. What happened there?
Small price. It wouldn't matter to Trump. Do you think he cares if people die for him to be elected? That doesn't mean anything to Trump.
Yeah,
now, staged from whose side? Do you think Donald Trump staged it for attention?
Could be, or it could be the other side trying to make a scene or something. But I don't. The fact that they only got his ear and he would stood up and said America. I don't. Come on.
Right.
It doesn't feel normal.
What is our evidence for suggesting that it was a fake assassination attempt?
I think that he walked away alive with perhaps a scratch on his ear.
Yeah, it grazed his ear.
Yeah. Of course, behind the scenes, that was all fabricated. Some noise, they put a little scratch on his ear, threw a little blood on his face.
Now, so you think that they planned from 130 yards away to shoot off the corner of his ear?
And they never shot off the corner of his ear. That was all done by the people hanging around him. Nobody ever shot off his ear.
Okay. So you just see it grazing his ear as maybe not real. What about the people that died what about the father that died in the stand as well as the others that were critically injured?
I don't know. I can't tell, but to me it just looks like it was planned, and bless that guy's soul for dying for this cause. I'm so sorry for that person's family.
So you think, if we're thinking that that's a big thing to think is that Donald Trump's administration faked an assassination, got people killed to try to do this. What would you say our reasoning is for saying that, or we have no reasoning?
Just the feeling.
Just the feeling.
I haven't paid attention to anything right now because that's not where my mind is at right now. Okay. So as of right now, I just, like I said, I didn't even want to talk about it.
Well, if we're not paying attention, is the right move to say that Donald Trump staged the assassination and faked an assassination against himself? Is that the right move, or is the right move just to say, I don't know?
I'm just going to say, I don't know. I'm on vacation.
Oh, well, you're against fake news, Donald. How about against against all this other fake crap that you pull? If Trump is involved, it's a fraud.
That was a powerful moment after he got shot. Bro got shot in the ear.
Yeah.
And he I don't know, he showed everyone that he's strong and stuff. So
what are your thoughts about those people? Are they foolish for believing that this is a real assassination attempt?
Yeah, a lot of people are easily fooled by Donald Trump. Yeah, they're foolish.
Wow.
Wow.
Not one fact, all feelings.
That's right. And that's what we're up against, because most Republicans literally have facts that they can back up. And I know that we have passion as well, and we have feelings toward Donald Trump or saving our country, but we admit that. Like yesterday, I admitted that I might look at the RNC more through a rose-colored glasses because I've liked Donald Trump since he came down the elevator. But there's very discerning people that they didn't like Donald Trump. And so now they're coming with the facts that he was a much better president than Joe Biden. You've got these delusional people. They're the same type of people that that protest all the time. They really believe that this was staged. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense to me that they think this is staged. But that's the scary part, that close to half of people in America are so uninformed, and these people walk among us. They really do. And like Donna's saying, they're old, hardcore Democrats. And they're stubborn. As Vic says, they're stubborn because their pride won't let them look at the facts.
No, not at all.
Yeah. I mean, and these people, I don't see them as much as some other people do, because most of my friends since 2016 have either become conservative, or since I'm so loud about it, I triggered so many people in 2015 and 2016 with my love of Trump early on that they couldn't talk to me. I triggered people that I never thought I would trigger.
Their need to be correct and right and be of the right way overshadows their ability to actually see what's going on in the world.
That's right. That's right. It's
the blinders are on full force, even though if they're black shades, they can't see a darn thing.
Yes, yes. And Donna's saying that she thinks they're more in the minority now. And I
hope so.
I hope so too. I hope so too. And Kim is saying clearly their COVID vaccinations are clouding their judgments. That's the best comment of the day. It does make you wonder that. You know, I heard on the news that long COVID, because we know the difference between short COVID and long COVID. And they're now saying that long COVID is something that is starting to dissipate. But they're admitting that 70% of people that have long COVID got it from the vaccination, or at the very least, they did get the COVID jab.
The cupcake.
The cupcake. That's right. You know, I've been saying it a lot more, and we've been okay. So we'll see. We'll see. So what's interesting about that, though, is they admit that. The CDC and other people are admitting that long COVID was primarily 70% caused by taking the jab. But since we're coming on October, when we're going to see COVID again, you might want to go get vaccinated. David and Projo, make that make sense to me.
It's impossible.
It really is. I mean, it makes no sense whatsoever. You know, and that's why, you know, we're getting reports. People are texting me, and we're getting reports that there was another shooter that happened, and the person was transgender. And so we'll get into that more tomorrow. But that just proves our point again, that the people that are doing that are people that are compromised in their brains. And I'm trying not to be mean, but there's something wrong with people that they feel that their one body part needs to be whacked off to become somebody else. And you saw all these protesters, and you saw the shooter. And it comes to find out that the shooter, that his friend came out, or I can't say it was friend, it was a classmate, came out and said that he hates all politicians, not even Democrats, and that he was a registered Republican, but he gave a little bit of money to a fringe far left group. Mm-hmm. But that guy was so off, and he was so off his rocker, that if the vitriol had been about putting a bullseye on Joe Biden, he would have gone and done it to Joe Biden. But think about it. Donald Trump got his ear hurt, okay? Mm-hmm. Really hurt. Believe it or not believe it, you don't see any conservatives rioting in the street, because that's not what we do. But if that shooter had taken out or grazed Joe Biden's ear, there would be so many George Soros people rioting in our streets. And as it is, the RNC was already doing that. So, you know, and they lie. And we have one more video about the shooter, Joe, if you could play that. And Vic and I have tried not to play that many about him because we don't want to give him the notoriety. But in some ways, I feel like we have to do that. Like we have to. Because we have got to get to the bottom of why there was no Secret Service detail doing the proper thing. All right, this is showing that an hour before the shooting, Cook is walking around and he's looking up. So he was there.
He's trying to figure out how to get on top of the roof.
Yeah. And yeah, play that again, Joe. See the circle? That's him. Just milling around. And over an hour beforehand, They knew this Crooks guy was a threat.
Mm-hmm.
And my biggest question is, okay, say we had the JV team there and they really didn't know what to do. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Why was he allowed to go on that stage? That's my number one question. If that threat was identified 30 minutes to an hour before, because I hear different reports that now
that's not being identified at that point. So that one there, someone just happened to go back through their video they took of the program and they're like, oh my God, I was looking that way. There he is in the background. I got him.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yes, he's casing the joint. He's trying to figure it out. Secret Service is not looking at that particular person as a credible threat at that point.
At that point, what was it, about 30 minutes ahead of time?
That particular video is an hour ahead.
An hour ahead. Well, the reports that I'm hearing is that it was 26 minutes ahead of time. They knew, the local police at least know
they had a warning about him, yeah.
Correct. Why was he still on the roof? And if they couldn't figure out where he was, because as the Secret Service lady Kim said, that roof was too sloped. Bullshit. But think about that. Why was he not? They could have said to Donald Trump, Dan Bongino even said this. You could have said to him, there's a threat. We haven't identified it yet. Why don't you wait 10 or 11 minutes before you go up there? And then they could have scoped everything, but they didn't do it.
The number one thing they should have done is they should have had somebody on that roof prior to.
They said that it was too dangerous. It was too much of a slope. They couldn't put anybody on.
Because they stood up there and washed it off with water.
Right, I saw that too.
Yes.
The slope was not great enough to do it, and they could have set themselves up a stand or something up there that would have taken care of the slope aspect of it.
Special shoes,
Anything.
That's right. Exactly right.
Greg actually sent us a picture that might shed a little more light on this.
Please do.
Okay.
Play it.
It's just a picture.
And tell me, what is that a picture of? Is this of the transgender shooter that just happened?
Yes.
Did this just happen today?
This picture?
Yeah. Well, so I'm getting a lot of people dinging my phone and saying there was another school shooter. And so I haven't taken the time to look that up yet.
No, this is Crooks.
Oh, that is Crooks.
That is Crooks.
That makes sense. Okay. So Crooks was a transgender.
But a registered Republican transgender. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
No.
This all makes sense to me. Okay. So that is Crooks. So that's Crooks. Turns out he's a transgender. That makes sense. Because now that I see it, that does look him, because he had the longer hair.
Mm-hmm. And the chin.
Yes.
Very notable chin.
Right.
Well, and you know what? When I first saw, somebody sent me the picture of this guy with his brains blown out. And it looked like a woman to me at first. And I think maybe it's just because of the hair. So here we have it again. So you can't convince me that they're not pushing these kids over the edge to do their dirty work. And some people are saying I'm conspiratorial because I think, I can't say that detail right there that was so inept purposely tried to have Donald Trump assassinated. I don't know that I believe that, but somebody wants him gone, and they used this particular situation to do it because they knew that they had the JV team there, and they also knew that this was a wide open venue that wasn't large. That was not one of his larger rallies. So, and Terry's saying, yes, all those roofs. There is a video of a spectator that was at a 2016 rally and said there were Secret Service all over every roof. And he made the comment that he wondered why this was not as secure. I know we saw that. We went to the inauguration, and even a couple days before, there was like rallies and things. There was snipers on every single rooftop.
The entire way there.
Yes. And I can't remember if it was Donald Trump or Eric Trump who was literally saying that they have been asking for more Secret Service and they just didn't get it.
It was Don Jr. Yeah.
Don Jr. Okay. And then, RFK Jr. had no security detail till this happened. And now he does. And it's why? Why would the federal government run under Joe Biden and Obama not want those two people to have it? Well, think about it. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist. Okay, RFK Jr. defected from the Democrat Party and now is an independent and calling out. He's not calling out all the truths, but he's calling the COVID truth out. Donald Trump's calling it all out. They want those two to go away. And how can they do that? Incite crazy people and not give them enough Secret Service. That to me makes sense.
And this might give us a little more insight on the Secret Service.
Yeah. Pat. That is awesome, Joe. That is awesome. So if any of you cannot see the video, this is fantastic. This is the Secret Service looks like Pat from SNL. And any of you that are quite a bit younger than, say, 45 to 55 and older, you might not know who Pat is. But, I've seen so many memes of that one Secret Service agent looking like Pat.
Definitely.
That made my
That's
day.
perfect.
That is so awesome. I really love that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Greg.
Thank you, Greg.
Donna, he's already got Secret Service. They've already had a security.
Yeah, will Vance have security? Yes. Yeah. That's where Vic had brought up that he knew that there would be more secret, or that possibly J.D. Vance would be the pick because he was giving quite a bit elevated Secret Service. Yeah. And that's another reason, and we already hit this earlier, that Melania has Barron kind of not out in the limelight right now because everyone knows that Iran now has a hit job out on him. And these kids are not safe without all of this security detail. And I hope Donald Trump still does rallies. It's not that I want him to cower and be fearful. I just hope he can do them more in controlled environments between now and the election and after that. But he won't really have to do rallies after he gets elected. But so for the next couple months, I hope any of his rallies are done inside, not outside where there's more variables. So, speaking of variables, I wore a shirt, I guess it was Monday or Tuesday, that said built Trump. Yeah. Yes.
I think that was Monday.
Was that Monday? Yeah, right afterwards. Back. Okay. And so we have a video saying the exact same thing, basically, about the Trumps are tough and be Trump tough. And as soon as I saw that, I thought, yeah, we need to all be Trump tough.
This one might take a minute.
Okay.
I'm sorry. It's got an ad. The Truth Social.
Yeah. Isn't that funny? Truth Social. Yeah. This came directly from Truth Social.
Maybe not. Hold on a second. Okay. Sorry. My bad.
Sneaky.
I'm telling you. That's.
And Kathleen, she's asking me, where did I get that shirt? You got me that shirt online back in 2015 or 16. I don't remember. It was just 16. On 16. It was just on Facebook. You saw it somewhere. So I don't even know where it was from now. All right. And this is Right Side Broadcasting getting this from Truth Social.
I've always been proud of him, but I've never been prouder of my father than I was in that moment. That's when the world found out that there is tough, and then there's Trump tough.
Yeah, Trump tough. I don't know that there's ever been a tougher human being in my lifetime. And I think he's stronger now than ever because he has people that he's surrounding himself and unifying the RNC. And I think that because Donald Trump was the president for 4 years, then we've seen how bad it's gotten. Maybe that's why God allowed that to happen, because if Donald Trump was the president right after that, he would have kept getting blowback after blowback after blowback. And now everyone knows who the sneaky swamp is. And this is the way to get rid of them. And maybe it took those 4 years for it to get that bad for Republicans that were not on the Donald Trump train, now are on the train. And we're seeing a lot of that. And I hope that that's the case. Even Amber Rose, if you could play the video of Amber Rose, we played her. A lot of people don't like Amber Rose. She's the lady with the tattoos, and she was a former porn star. And now she's backing Donald Trump. And here is another. I know we're hitting media really hard today with MTG and all of these things, but mainstream media and local media, Bill Eigel even touched on that, is a bunch of crap going after the most conservative people. And they thought Amber Rose, it's almost like the devil. The devil doesn't bother you when he already has you. Mainstream media and media doesn't bother you until they cannot control you anymore. And here's Amber Rose, just like MTG, hitting back.
Or, endorsement of Donald Trump. I mean, you're all about women's rights issues. I mean, what was the reason for the big change?
Is Donald Trump not for women's rights issues?
I mean, I guess a lot of people were asking.
He's trying to make America great again. That's for women too, right?
That's true. I mean,
okay. There you go.
I know. Does him getting convicted change the way you view him?
Not at all.
I mean, do you think it'll help his chances, like getting like reelected, or like it'll hurt
I think it
him?
helps him more.
Oh,
I think
it helps him
helps.
more.
Yeah, absolutely. I think people see the injustice and what happened, and they want to vote for him more than ever.
I know. I wanted to ask you. So it seems like a lot of celebrities are kind of like voting for Trump now. I mean, why do you think people are kind of like changing their way of like?
I think we just did our research, and we're just, we're not brainwashed anymore by the left. I can say that about myself. All these years I've been brainwashed, and I'm not anymore.
So you think people are getting more educated about it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I
mean,
think so.
do you think Donald Trump would approve of the slut walk? People were shocked with.
She just is beautiful. And I think this is the new Republican Party. It is not the white, old men, business owners anymore. Donald Trump has changed forever the Republican Party. So if you are a Mitt Romney, you no longer belong. The Republican Party these days is for everyone that wants their freedom. It is for people who will speak the truth, who people are not afraid of the mainstream media. It's for people who tell the truth, not the lies that the media says. So that's what we have to do between now and the election, is only find podcasts and true sources, and be careful the mainstream media. Be careful the local news that we listen to, because they lie. They do not tell the truth, and they're coming after people like Bill Eigel. They're coming after people like myself. They're coming after people like even Mike Kehoe. They're coming after Donald Trump. They're coming after the Trump kids. They're coming after MTG. And you know what? If you speak up, they're coming after you. And so let's pray for our country, and let's get truth out, and let's keep talking. And so that kind of wraps up our show today.
Yeah.
It kind of wraps it up, because I have to be somewhere else real soon. And is there anything either one of the two of you want to add today?
Not that I can think of right off.
Okay. Well, tomorrow is Free for All Friday, and we're going to hit it hard again tomorrow, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And we appreciate you being here, and we appreciate
Thank you for having me today.
Yes, we appreciate them tolerating today, the Sparks team today, and I appreciate my husband being here when Vic couldn't. And so that's it. That's a wrap today. I am Lizzie Sparks, and thank you so much, Pro Joe, and thank you, David Sparks. And we will see you tomorrow. And hang tough, be Trump tough, and tell the truth, and don't listen to mainstream and local news.